Welcome to another episode of Theological Pipe. News, culture, sports, politics, and everything else from a theological perspective.
It's all summed up in love.
What should I do? Tell me. God is good. Give it to me, give it to me, give it to me, give me peace. Give me peace.
Put that in your theological pipe and smoke it. Hey, welcome to another episode, a special episode, pre-debate episode of Theological Pipe. This is going to be really short. There's really not much to say. I'm amazed at the reaction. I'm not really amazed. It's expected. What did we expect was going to happen? You have a guy that is a boorish oaf of a bull who steamrolls everybody. You have an old man that can barely keep his thoughts coherent. And you have a moderator that didn't even know what he was doing, and he was debating the president half the time and pushing back and repeating lies. And so, I mean, it was just a total show. It was nuts. And it wasn't as bad as people are making out. Of course, now the media is going to pretend that it was the worst thing they've ever seen. It was a tip. What did you expect? I mean, what did you really expect? Did you expect to see Biden come out really sharp and really on top of his game? He wasn't. They lowered the expectations for him so much that him appearing halfway coherent was a win for him. Did they expect Donald Trump to come out and be really gentle and clear and concise and know his role and know what, of course he's going to interrupt. That's what he does. And of course, Chris Wallace. The problem I have with Chris Wallace is not him losing control of Trump and Biden. They both were boorish at times. They both interrupted. They both were really classless at times, saying things that they shouldn't say. But for Chris Wallace to repeat the very fine people hoax to Biden was kind of silly. Chris Wallace defended critical race theory, which he didn't need to do. He didn't let Trump talk about Hunter Biden, which is pretty important when you consider some of the things that he's connected to. So Trump was debating Wallace and debating Biden. But again, he's Trump. So I'm not surprised at Trump's boorish behavior. I'm not surprised at the moderator kind of debating Trump as well. I'm not surprised at Biden being Biden. And again, it's a win for him because he was semi-coherent. But I don't think anyone walks away from that debate with any different feeling about their candidates. I've said on Twitter, and this is Theological Pipe, and I mean this not just because of the debate, but it's really something that should be driven home, especially for people who are buying into the media's hype of this right now. Don't buy into it. You saw it. It was what it was. It was really no different than any of the other debates. They're going to say it was the worst one ever. They're going to say it was crazy. They're going to say the moderator didn't have control. That's happened in other debates. It was what it was, and they're going to have two more, and they're both going to be just as equally as weird, and Trump's going to be Trump, and Biden's going to be Biden, and the moderators are going to be the moderators, and the media is going to overhype everything. I don't think this changes anything, but for me, it solidifies always being thankful that my hope is found in something other than a politician. My hope is found in God. My hope is found in Jesus Christ. That's where I place my hope and my trust. And I believe that God is a God that is in control. He's still on his throne. He hasn't relinquished it. So I am thankful that no matter what happens for the next few weeks before the election, that no matter what happens after the election, God's still on his throne. God is still in control. God still knows what he's doing. And the person that gets elected is there because God wants him there. And that's biblical, and you could go read it if you want to. Look it up. But again, just my instant reaction was it was not very different than I thought it would be. Again, I thought Wallace could have done a better job moderating, but you're trying to moderate two guys that don't want to be moderated. They both interrupted each other. They both were classless to each other. And it's not surprising. It's not surprising. Again, it did seem like Trump was fighting both of them at times, but again, that's expected too, and I think he knows that's expected too. Don't think this changes anything about the race. Have no idea what the race is going to do. You can say Trump's going to win by a landslide because of the silent majority, or Biden's going to win by a landslide because people are upset with Trump or tired of Trump. Who knows? There's still 6 weeks to go. Huge things can drop. In my other podcast today, I talked about that document that kind of is circulating that says it's possible that Obama and Hillary Clinton concocted the Russia hoax scheme. So there's so many things that can happen now. Again, as someone who does a podcast on Theological Pipe, that there is a God, there's still a God. Don't get discouraged. Don't put your hope in a politician, whether it be Trump or Biden. Don't think things are going to be different because one of those people win. In fact, that should be something that you could rest on all the time. Your life is up to you. What you make of life is what you make it. Your life is not going to be different if Biden's elected or if Trump is reelected. Your life is what you make it. So, put your trust in God, find your hope in Him, and then you can face tomorrow. No matter what it is, you can face tomorrow. So that's my maybe like a little pump up or have a different perspective on things. Don't listen to the media. Don't get overhyped. Don't get too upset or too down, depending on if your guy won or lost or how you think he did. Put your hope in God. Put your trust in Him. If your trust is in Him, you're always going to win because you know how the story ends. So again, I'm going to keep this one short. Put that in your theological pipe and smoke it. And we'll see you next time. Have a good one.
The sea was angry that day, my friends. Like an old man trying to send back soup in a deli.